love to learn about how you got into music composing, what your story is for, becoming a musician.
Yes. So basically, I started studying music when I was 12 years old. And I started with the piano. And I did the classical pathway. I studied in conservatory, and I have master degree in piano and in composition as well. So also in composition, I started with classical composition, classical and contemporary composition. So avant-garde music, all this field. And in the same time, I was doing a lot of experiences as a keyboard player in some projects that never got too much success, but I mean, it was good for me just to have different experiences. Then what happened after I finished my studies, I did the master, a postgraduate master in film music with a professor that was graduated from Berkeley, and this was my beginning, let's say, man. This is how I started to get interested in film music. So was the first time even for me to learn how to use a DAW, I mean, all these things. So this was 4 years ago, actually. So I already had the solid background in classical and contemporary music, and I already had collaborations with labels. So a lot of my pieces have been published by some labels, and I still keep working with them. But in the same time, I started to be very interested in this other side of the music. So music for images, for screen. So what I'm doing now in this field is basically I'm composing for sound libraries. And so apart a few small projects, I didn't really get into this business, let's say. I'm not in a rush, of course, but that's why I got interested in your website when I applied, because I saw it like a possibility at least to get in touch with some filmmakers.
So you went to school. You said you're composing for sound libraries. It's interesting that you say that, because we spoke with another composer who very much does that as well, and that's kind of his income source. Now I'm curious if that's kind of your primary source of income, or if that's kind of a new thing, and would love to kind of learn more about your experience there so far.
Yeah, no, I'm quite new in this field actually. Mm-hmm. My primary source of income is teaching. I'm a piano teacher.
Okay.
This is my primary source of income. And no, for sound libraries, it's quite a new thing.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Are you able to share like which sound libraries you're working with, or kind of just investigating at this point?
Yes. No, actually now I'm in a company for A&R. It's called Taxi.
Oh, sure. Yep.
So I'm with them. I'm getting in touch with some sound libraries. But honestly, my goal at the moment is not to, because I had an experience. So I had the contract. I still have a contract with the sound libraries called Audio Hooks.
Okay.
Let's say that they have an exclusive on an album that I did for them. After 2 years, it didn't really bring too much income. That's why now I'm trying to have as a target a bit bigger sound libraries. That's why I'm avoiding for now the small sound libraries. And I'm not in a rush. Even if this will take years, it's fine. But I prefer to have a few deals, but good.
Sure. That makes sense. So you were saying that that's kind of like your goal at this point in your career, is trying to get those few deals with the sound libraries. And
yes,
got it. Curious to know what your goals are when it comes to composing for film, TV, media. Anything in particular that you're looking to work on that interests you?
Yes, of course, it would be great working, I don't know, on a documentary, for example, is a thing that I would really like doing it. And in general, what I really would like is to having the experience to work with a director. you know. So with someone that is not a musician, I feel it could be really a great opportunity also to grow up, to see the music from another perspective. And I would really love this kind of collaboration. Of course, also for an income, but also to learn something more.
Yeah, kind of expand your skill set and, you know, take on a new challenge. I think for us as musicians, that's what we're always looking to do, right?
Yes.
That's awesome. So kind of talking about your career so far and everything that you've been up to, is there one particular piece of music or one maybe project that you've worked on so far that is your favorite project you're most proud of? Curious, like what is you think your biggest achievement is up until this point in your career?
Well, a project that gave me a huge satisfaction was one piece for orchestra that I composed that has been live performed in a festival and recorded and released recently, actually. And this has been a piece that really gave me a lot of good feedback from listeners. Let's say about the pieces that I have on SoundCloud. Well, there is one, for example, that I did recently. It's a kind of trailer music. It's called World of Wonder. This is a piece that I would like to showcase. And there is also my album for piano, a piano album. That one is on SoundCloud.
Okay.
And it's called Message in a Bottle, for example. Another project that's honestly brought me a lot of very good feedback.
That's awesome. One of the things that I like to just learn about from other composers is kind of twofold. One is like, how do you go about composing a piece of music? Like, what is that process like? My understanding is that everybody's a little bit different as to what their patterns are and habits. What is your process, generally speaking, for composing any type of music, whether it's for libraries or for media or anything?
Yes, let's say that since I work in really different music, there are, I think, some differences in the way. For example, of course, if I have to work on a video, the starting point is always the video. So it's the video that somehow suggests me what kind of music will fit. But in general, for any kind of music, my starting point is the piano. So I try on the piano to find the right theme or the right mood, the right atmosphere, simply because it's my primary instrument, and so I'm confident with it and it's easy for me. The second stage is always the score. So writing the music sheet, because my background is classical, so I definitely need the music writing to develop my ideas. Even if I have now experience with DAWs and things, it's really hard for me to work directly on it, just recording the tracks. I really need the score, at least at this point. Once I do this, the next step is tracking the piece. So with virtual instruments, or if it's my production, so if it's a thing that I'm doing in home production, of course I will do myself the tracking. If it's a project that involves live musicians, instead I will send the music notes. And then once I do this, once the piece is tracked, so all the production is finished. Also, if it's a home production, I will take care of the mixing, the mastering, everything. If it's not, it will go to mixing and mastering engineer.
Okay, so you do most of the mixing and mastering yourself, but
yes, for home production, yes.
Okay.
I'm working instead with the label that usually no, because usually it involves live musicians, and for this the label take care of these aspects, also of the mixing and the mastering.
Got it. I'm curious what a DAW you use.
At the moment, I use Reaper.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Reaper. Yes. I started with Digital Performer in my course,
Okay.
and then I tried basically all the DAWs from
Mm-hmm.
Cubase, Ableton Live, really all of them,
Mm-hmm.
and at least the one that are supported by Windows because I'm a Windows user.
Got it. Okay.
And then I landed on Reaper, and for now I don't switch.
Got it. I'm a Mac guy, so I stick with Logic
Okay,
Pro.
okay, sure.
But everybody's got their preference, right?
Hmm. Sure, sure.
It's super insightful, and it's cool to like learn about how other people, how the creative process works.
Mm.
Everyone's different, and so everyone's got their habits, which is cool to see. What makes you as a composer maybe different, unique? What about your music do you think is kind of unique to you and is representative of, your music style and kind of stands out a bit compared to the other composers, other musicians?
Well, it's a good question. Well, I don't know what it makes unique. For sure, there are a lot of aspects that come from classical music that maybe someone that has another background, like, I don't know, from jazz or from any other music genre. I mean, you can feel a different taste in the melodies, in the harmonies, in all of this. So for sure, in my music, there is a heritage that come from classical music. I don't know. I usually take a lot of care about the melody when I compose. What I try to do is to make the melody, of course, smooth, spontaneous, but also very well shaped. So usually I don't just leave the first idea. I really work on it. I craft the melody in a way that at
Hmm.
the end I say, yes, okay, this suits me. I like it.
Got it. Another question I had, just like kind of knowing, seems like you're up to a lot with the libraries and teaching and getting into more and more involved into media composing. Wondering what's upcoming for you. What's next? Are you working on any big projects? Any
Hmm.
scores, pieces of music that you're excited about sharing?
Yes, I'm working to a new piece for orchestra. Also, this is a classical piece. I'm writing this for a label that I work with. It's called Phasma Music,
That's more music. Okay.
and they are very active in this classical contemporary music genre, let's say. So I'm working on this piece for them, and recently I composed also some other some pieces for some libraries for orchestra and for solo piano.
Awesome. One other question I had related to finding scores, finding kind of paying opportunities. I had noticed your answer related to like what are your top challenges as a composer. I would love to be able to pick your brain a bit more and hear what maybe your top 1 to 2 challenges are as a composer now, and some of the things that you're trying to do to resolve them.
Yes. Well, for sure, yes. Finding a job, let's say as a composer, for me in this moment, it's really hard.
Mm,
And find paying, I mean, a job that can can deliver a decent pay, let's say, decent payroll.
yeah.
So my goal for the future will be exactly to make a stable income in composing. I'm trying now to do experience also with taxi and with all these things to build a repertoire, of course, and to gradually increase the quality of my production at a level that I can reach this goal. So for now, yes, my primary source of income is still teaching,
Mhm.
and I'm not in a rush. I just go straight on my pathway, and I'm sure that I will make it.
Got it. So the main thing that you're kind of doing now, as it relates to finding more paying gigs, is taxi kind of number one and getting
Yeah.
involved there. Anything else? Are there any sort of methods in which you're like trying to find other like opportunities for film scoring, like paid film scoring?
Compozly is another one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's
Yes.
what we're here to help with. And so we definitely want to kind of just understand how you're going about it, some of the things that you're trying, and that's our goal. So
Yes, another thing, let's say, is trying to meet filmmakers. So try to build a network, let's say. It's a slow process, of course. I'm sure it will bring opportunities in time, maybe later, and not at the moment. But yes, I'm trying anyway to be active, let's say, in building a network with filmmakers.
do you go to any like in-person like film like meetups or anything like that? Is it, or is it primarily online that you're trying to connect with other filmmakers?
Both, both.
Okay.
Of course,
Yeah.
online is nowadays it's kind of easier.
Right.
You can reach everywhere in the world.
Exactly.
But yes, and I try to be active also in here where I live. I mean,
Got it. Got it. Awesome.
I think that any collaboration starts on the human side. So rather than talking about music at the beginning, rather than talking about, then say how much good I can be in composing, I prefer to tell them that I'm a person that it's easy to work with because I'm quite serious in what I do, and I respect all the deadlines, and also I like the teamwork.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
really take seriously any feedback, any critique. It's absolutely good, but in the same time, I have also a positive attitude
Hmm.
in my work. So I never get frustrated or negative about anything. So I
Got
think
it.
that these can be, I mean, at least for me, it's important to know these things about people I work with, because sometimes someone can be an excellent musician or anything, but if I know that he's going to bring troubles, maybe
Yeah.
better,
Yeah. I,
better someone else.
yeah. I definitely hear you there. It's like I have had a few bands in my career and people I played with. They can be excellent, the most talented musicians in the world, but if you can't get along with them for more than a
Exactly.
few minutes, then you might as well just work with somebody else.
Yes,
Talk about the chemistry for sure.
exactly, exactly.
This has been awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll be in touch.
Of course, it was a pleasure for me too, and thank you very much.
Yeah, have a good one. Take
You
care.
too.
Bye.
Bye.